And the men will be next in this semifinal heat of the 400 meters. Much anticipated this particular individual's race here. Great in the first 2 rounds. In fact, 4,000 people showed up on Tuesday afternoon just to watch him race. So much attention has been focused on the 400 meters. The U.S. Supreme Court deciding that Butch Reynolds should be allowed to run here.
I haven't seen any athletes followed around like he has been this week since Bob Beamon jumped 29 feet in Mexico. He's put up with a lot of pressure and a lot of distractions, but run well the first 2 times. In fact, he's run better than any man ever has in qualifying rounds. And of course, the crowd is here in big part to see Mike Powell and Carl Lewis, but I got to think they're also following the Butch Reynolds story quite intently. 4,000 people showed up last night just to watch one qualifying round of the 400.
And Butch will not have an easy time in his semifinal from lane 1 through 8. Frankie Atwater, Tim Simon, Quincy Watts, the NCAA champion, Andrew Valmon in 4. Butch Reynolds, as you see on your screen, number 576 in 5. The world record holder and Olympic silver medalist. Lane 6, Willie Caldwell. Second qualifier of the quarterfinal, Aaron Payne of Ohio University, or Ohio State University, and Deon Minor from Baylor University, one of the members of that great 4x400. But this is all about Butch Reynolds.
I think all eyes will be on Butch Reynolds, but my eyes will be on Quincy Watts in lane 3. He's got the fastest time in the world. He's the NCAA champion. He's the hot flash this year. Will he get drawn into what is on Butch Reynolds' agenda? Butch Reynolds' agenda is to run very quickly here and embarrass the field. That's not how you make the Olympic team.
And he's run the fastest first 2 rounds ever, both around 44.5.
Will Quincy Watts get sucked into a race with him?
Atwater, Simon, Watts, Valmon, Reynolds, Caldwell, Payne, and Minor as they come off the first turn. And Reynolds not moving as fast in the middle of the track as he did the first 2 rounds, Marty.
Everyone running a really paced race, but Quincy Watts starting to make up the stagger, and he has the lead right now as he enters this final turn. Butch Reynolds starting to react now in red shorts.
They're running for final positions. The better times, the faster times in the semifinal will determine the final lanes as Quincy Watts comes off the turn first. That's Quincy Watts in lane 3. Butch Reynolds in 5 in the red shorts is going to be Quincy Watts and Butch Reynolds. Then Andrew Valmon currently in 3rd. And then very close between Tim Simon and Willie Caldwell for the final qualifying spot. I found that interesting. Butch Reynolds seemed to change his philosophy from the first 2 rounds, but look at the flash time. 43.97 in a semifinal.
Fastest time since 1988. And I think you say Butch changed his mind. I don't think he could have won that heat no matter what. I think he looked over, he saw Quincy Watts, he tried to go after him, and I don't think there was any way he was going to catch him. Now maybe he let him go a little bit too much in the last 200, but there's a lot of question marks now coming up to the final. Quincy showed something there.
John Smith, the 440-yard world record holder, the coach of Quincy Watts, probably told him, Quincy, you need to get a good lane in the final, and don't let Butch Reynolds dictate the pace of this race. You go out and run your own race. And this time, Reynolds looks a little bit winded. He may have run as fast as he has the whole trials, but Quincy Watts showed him a thing or two in that particular semifinal. Very exciting to see how this final will shake up, and we will show you that final on Friday night. But Butch Reynolds is a finalist in the Olympic trials 400 meters. And this particular story continues to go on. It's dominated the trials. It has dominated the nightly news and the front pages of the sports pages around the country, focusing attention on track and field.
The question is it starting to tell on Butch Reynolds? And you made a good point. Butch Reynolds has been putting up with all this. What it's done for Quincy Watts, who, like most college guys, was tired after the end, Marty.
And there is the Olympic champion from 1988, Steve Lewis, who might have a little bit to say about what happens in this next semifinal heat. They will line up like this. In lane 1, Derek Mills. Lane 2, Chip Jenkins, his father, the Olympic champion from 1956. Steve Lewis, the 88 Olympic champion in the 400. Darnell Hall in 4. Antonio Pettigrew, the world champion from last year in 5. Danny Everett, the 1988 bronze medalist and gold medalist in the relay. Jason Rouser, looking good throughout the heats. And in lane 8, Marlin Cannon. This should also be an exciting semifinal. They have a 43.97 first semifinal to shoot for.
You've got to wonder what's going through their heads. Do they race or do they get tied up in trying to top that first heat? You've got the men in this heat that could do it.
Once again, your time in the semifinal will determine what lane you can draw in the final. So obviously Quincy Watts and Butch Reynolds can draw for good lanes out of the first semifinal. Let's see what happens here.
Boy, out in lane 7.
Jason Rouser, formerly the University of Oklahoma, going out like that in every one of his heats, but also in lane 5. Antonio Pettigrew running an intelligent race. Steve Lewis in 3 starting to make a move. And as they come to the head of the straightaway, it's Steve Lewis, the Olympic champion in 3, Danny Everett in 6. Rouser now fading badly. It's Lewis in 3, followed by Everett with Antonio Pettigrew and Darnell Hall. And it looks as though Antonio Pettigrew will not get through to the next round. A very poor stretch run by Pettigrew. Surprising, as strong as he has been in national championships and qualifying rounds for world championships, and he can't believe it. Pettigrew, clearly 5th in that particular semifinal, will not even vie for a spot on the 1992 Olympic team. That's got to be disappointing as we look at Danny Everett, who ran very smoothly, as he always does in that semifinal, as we look at Carl Lewis getting ready. Here's Steve Lewis in lane 3, looking good, Mark.
Took control of that race on the second turn and didn't have to look around. Danny Everett, his teammate, closing on him as they come to the finish. But as you said, the surprise is Pettigrew. This is an event where the trials are better than the Olympics, no doubt about that. You've got a guy that's a current world champion, doesn't make the team, and now he can't believe it.
Not even in the final, as Darnell Hall of Blinn College was 3rd, and Chip Jenkins in 4th. Antonio Pettigrew is going to have to wait 4 long years to atone for that particular mistake.
On the infield with Butch Reynolds.
How appropriate, Marty LaCory, that you happen to be talking about heat, because nobody's been under more heat than the man standing next to me. Butch, this is certainly not by your design, the way that you are being applauded and appreciated in these track and field finals. But let's talk about your most recent race. Quincy Watts, well, he did it to you.
You know, Quincy's a young guy. He's very strong, and he ran good races. He was able to get into good rounds that where he had to run a 45, 1 or better. I had to run 44 to make a statement, and then to have some fast heats.
All right, then you answered one of my questions 3 times in virtually the past 24 hours. You've now gone under 45. Are you burning yourself out? Are you burning off adrenaline? What's your motive there?
I'm burning off adrenaline, more or less. I have a statement and an issue to make that athletes deserve rights. People have rights, and so do athletes. And I think that should be aware around the world. Not just a very powerful organization as the IAAF can make point fingers and give people 4-year bans for their mistakes.
Obviously, that's something that you are facing. Do you look at the finals now, which will come up here on Sports Channel on Friday? Do you look at those as your Olympics?
I do, but I have every intention on being in the Summer Olympics in Barcelona. Right now, every race to me is very important. I have probably 5 to 6 races, and my season is over with. I can put all this behind me. I have jumped our hurdle. I can go on with my life, which I can't wait to do.
Thank you very much, Butch.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll be back with more.